Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the High Frequency Kicks podcast, available on YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, and iTunes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. How long has it been now? 20 minutes fixing technical problems today.
Cool. That's cool.
That was
I'm
fun.
very proud. I'm proud of you for fixing them.
Man, it's like that's what I do for a living almost.
A little bit.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I started a YouTube channel. Maybe we'll link it this time, like a separate one from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like 3 channels now.
Yeah, and that's really cool. I saw your post. I haven't had a chance yet, but I'm gonna check it out.
Okay. I don't care if you watch it. Just like it or something.
No, I'll watch it. I'll downvote everything, or I'll dislike everything, and I'll comment. I'll be one of those commenters that comments on everything, tells you you're wrong.
You should be a troll. Be a troll.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right, I'll be your
Right
first
on.
troll.
Nice.
And then once my channel starts going, because as you know, I'm working on some stuff for myself. You can be my troll.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, we can just be
Troll
each other's
buddies.
trolls. Yeah.
We can change our channel to Troll Buddies.
Oh. That's actually
Troll
not.
Buddies. Troll Buddies Kung Fu.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I like
What are
it.
we talking about today?
So, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
When you're teaching,
Yeah.
what is the number one thing that people hate to do in class? If you had to pick, yeah, okay, yeah, forms.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I do know why. Well, we can talk about why, but
I don't know why, because they're my favorite things.
I love forms. I can kind of understand where people come from to a certain degree, but I do love forms, and you love forms. Which I think we mentioned that in like the first episode that we did.
Yeah, and this episode is the biased episode.
Oh yeah, no.
Apparently.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're not. No, we have talked about things we don't like, haven't we? We talked about Mulan. We didn't like that. Again, watch that episode where we don't like the remake, but we love the original.
Spoiler.
I mean, we say that like in the first 5 minutes.
Everything's a spoiler. Okay. What about forums? What do?
I find it really funny. Like you said, like you and I really love forums. And I think I don't know. I want to talk to you about like, because I mean part of the way I do some of my training, especially now that I am in a different city from you and the school that we trained in together. A lot of my training is done online, looking at videos, this resource material, practicing things, and then coming to our teacher on video calls and stuff, and coupling that with just like when I was teaching classes there and doing forms, especially with kids, but even with adults, people just like don't like it. And I want to discuss, I guess, about how we're teaching forms. What is it about forms that we think people don't like versus what we do like about them? Maybe talk about what is the actual purpose of forms, and maybe think. I think there's some teachers out there that are, let's say, misrepresenting what their forms are supposed to be. We can talk about that too a bit, but I think forms is like it's a whole world there in discussion topics that we could have.
Well, I know I like them because they have a performance aspect, obviously, and I like that about it. And it's like choreography. It's like choreography, like a dance choreography, and it's performance, and that's a lot of what I like about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what like drives me to keep learning more and more, and like challenge myself to do them in different ways, like backwards, forwards, etc., and other type things. Yeah, that's what I initially. Those are like the first things that come to mind when I think about why I like that over the other stuff.
Sure, I mean that's definitely for me too, and that's why I've been drawn a lot lately to a lot of kung fu forms.
Yeah.
I love. I mean, you and I started in Taekwondo, and that's our roots are built on Taekwondo. Pardon me. And so I love Taekwondo in all aspects of it. Um, but there's things like the forms that like, I love Taekwondo forms. Kung Fu ones just have such a high like, performance value, like you were saying. But I'm thinking, like to put it in different words, I think a high energy to them. A high. I'm blanking on any other word than that right now. I can't think of anything else. I'm not a wordsmith.
What?
Yeah, go figure. I program things and I kick things, and that's what I do. Especially like northern style kung fu, which is like Shaolin style martial arts. And you can find lots of videos on YouTube of Shaolin forms at demonstrations, and the Shaolin temple in, I want to say, Henan province, but I might be getting that wrong right now because it's been a long week already for me.
Well, I won't correct you, so.
Someone will.
Whoosh. That's all right.
Yeah.
That troll can correct you.
If Andrew ever watches these videos, he might correct me. I realized we forgot to smack talk Andrew last time. We have to.
Why?
That was like episode 2. That was our agreement. We're gonna keep smack talking him until he watches the videos.
Oh, okay. I wonder if he watched Mulan then. He probably liked it.
I don't think he did. I think he probably didn't. Here's the thing, though.
No, but we're smack talking him.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if we're he was such
you
a
can-
fan of Mulan.
You're creative. You can come up with something better than that.
Okay, just give me a sec.
I know it's late. It is late in the evening, because we do have day jobs. But anyway, we're already off topic here. Don't know what topic was. Henan Province. If you look up some videos of Shaolin forms, they're fantastic. They're beautiful. They're extremely theatrical. But it brings you to a point that I remember one time in high school. I forget where I was. We were with a bunch of friends. Someone asked me to do. I was getting ready for my black stripe test at the time, and someone was showing me forms or doing my forms or went to see them. So I was showing a form to friends of mine.
At school?
And no, this wasn't at school. This was in the
Okay.
evening, like a Friday evening. But a friend of mine asked me to show some forms. So I was doing some forms, and I remember the question being, well, looking at what I was doing, I think I was doing probably, if you know Taekwondo, I think I was doing pattern 8 or 9. Wouldn't have been 9 if it was going for black stripe. Would have been 8, 7 or 8.
Yeah.
But I remember showing my form and a friend looking at me and being like, well, that's not useful. It's not applicable or practical. It's just a sequence. And that was the first time that got me thinking about that. Well, not the first time, but like the first time out of the gym. And that question from that friend stuck with me really well. And especially now looking at my forms now and really trying to dig into what are they, why do we do them, what's the point of our forms, and looking at other styles and picking out things that I like about different forms that I do. They're right. They're not applicable. They're not. It's not a one-to-one translation, right? Like it's not like as you do your form, you can just take that and put it somewhere. But that doesn't mean they're useless. Obviously, the way I think of a lot of the forms is beyond the aesthetic and the theatrical side is they're essentially calisthenics, right? Like it's exercise, it's muscle training, it's muscle memory. A method of it shouldn't be the only one, of course, but it's a method of doing that and building it's great for leg muscles for like getting your stances, nice low wide stances, and training, throwing your strikes and combining strikes with other things. But yeah, you can't just take, or you shouldn't be just taking just like a section of that and just like take it out and put it somewhere. Take bits and pieces and move them around and change them and get creative. But it really got me thinking about how I approach my forms, and then looking at other forms and saying, well, yeah, okay, this isn't, this is very structured for if I were ever to have to use this to protect my life. Like, pattern 1 as an example of Taekwondo. right? It's like, yeah, well, left side, block. Okay, now I'm going to punch. Now I'm going to go over here. Like, it's very structured. But I think part of, especially with Taekwondo forms, I think that's part of why people don't like them, is that our Taekwondo forms, because Taekwondo is hugely a sport nowadays, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think that's probably why part of people don't like it, with Taekwondo forms particularly.
Yeah,
Because it's
especially
become
in the
so
beginning
modernized.
too. Yeah, especially in the beginning too, because when people first start, it's like for lack of a better word, I guess boring.
Mhm.
You know, they're just repeating the same very basic movements over and over again, essentially. And then I think what kind of ignites people's interest in it is when they actually like see, like your senior ranking students performing like those higher forms. Then it's like, oh, I gotta do this stuff so I can learn to do that stuff. And then for a time, they're excited about it again.
And
But
then
yeah.
that form gets boring, and then you see the next ones, and yeah.
Yeah. I think that's how I felt like way back when I started. But you know, it's like I wanted to, you know, keep learning a different one and then a different one and then a different one. Like I still liked it, but it's like it's always exciting to get to that next level and learn the new one.
Yeah. It helped me. I like the way I approach my goals is I think partially built on like that mindset that we use with forms for Taekwondo in modern day, is that like if my goals have like that concrete ending of like this is the thing and that's where I stop, once I get there I'm done. I have nowhere else to go. Whereas this way is like, okay, I've gotten this thing, but now my goal moves with me. And then now my goal is that next form. And then I get there and my goal has moved at the same time that I'm moving, get closer to it. And so it helps me to keep learning that way too. It's like you're saying, as soon as I get to one point, I can see the next one. And,
Yeah. I think too, like when you mentioned the calisthenic aspect too, and like and muscle memory in that, it's good for just kind of building your like desensitizing yourself to the transition between different kinds of moves. So if you're repeating this block into this kick, then you're just gonna have that in your bank of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Just those transition movements. If you're doing the same like kick punch combos all the time in class, that's all your body's really going to know what to do. If you're doing a different form all the time, then you have so many different combinations in your arsenal to use. Just that'll just like naturally be there.
Yeah. Well, and going even smaller, like you can talk about just like a single move. Like talk about just doing a low block, and like I want to say it's Bruce Lee. The quote, you know, I don't fear the man that's practiced 10,000 kicks at one time. I fear the man that's done one kick 10,000 times.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's the same thing, right? I mean, going back to like how forms are, martial arts in general are very, if we're being honest here, they're very modernized. They're very much a sport nowadays. I'm confident. I've done more than the sport element. I've gone out of my way to learn from people that have actual experience, and our instructor has some, and he's helped me find other teachers and people that help me. So I'm confident in my safety and helping others be safe if necessary, if need be. I've gotten that from martial arts. But that's not the main reason for most people to do martial arts.
Yeah.
In modern day, it's very much as a sport. It's a exercise. It's, you know, I want to be active. I just want to lose weight. I want to just have a sport to play, right? Or community to be part of. Like, that's what it is. So, I mean, we're not doing forms for the same reason people are doing forms in, you know, China and Japan and Korea hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
We're not even approaching martial arts from the same perspective as a whole, let alone any part of it. And it goes to show that, like, you know, you go back far enough, there wasn't, like I said, like, we know for our black belt test, we knew 9 forms, and then 1 form per black belt level. I've learned several other forms from, you know, for the kung fu that I'm doing, and so from kung fu I know half a dozen forms. it's a lot of forms to know. But if you go back a long time ago, because of the approach was totally different, you knew like 3 because there wasn't the progression that we have now. There wasn't the sport perspective of it, of like, okay, start with this, super simple, we'll just teach some blocks, it's gonna be nice and easy.
So you're saying like there's like more as time went on?
Yeah, it got simplified for sport purposes.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because I think your students would want that visual escalation to feel like you keep, like you're progressing, right?
Yeah, but again,
they want something like tangible to work towards.
I think that's a modern perspective of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, that's why it would, like, another reason why it would kind of like come to that versus how it was like back then.
And I know, because that I'm a nerd, and looked up a lot of this stuff and took Asian history in university and
I took
I'm gonna
Asian
play that card again.
in university.
I took Asian. Actually, that sounds wrong.
Did you though?
I did. I could speak Japanese. I'm not going to because my pronunciation is. I've been practicing it today. My brain is a little fried. I talked to you just on our personal discussions because we talked about some of the things that led to the change in martial arts when the Western society came in and started learning about it and taking it in, and some things that changed there, and a lot of that happened during World War II, and there were a lot of factors, but yeah, like it's definitely funny. Like I think part of what people don't like about the forums is one part of like we have a expectation that's not being met, and we have an expectation that we're going to be that warrior person by doing forms, but then again, we're still going into it with a modern perspective, and we should be. It's 2020 2021 now.
It's 2021.
Oh boy. Sorry, I'm having flashbacks from the past year. Okay. Wasn't that bad a year for me, actually. I mean, I work from home all the time.
Yeah, it's alright.
Bought a house.
Nice.
Yeah. But like, we go into it with this modern perspective of like, it's a sport, it's whatever, but we still for some reason want to come out as that warrior. But a lot of us don't want to put. If you want to do that, that's perfectly, to a certain extent, reasonable. You can come out of martial arts with that skill set of being able to fight and protect yourself and do certain things. But it's not even taught the same way. Like forms aren't used for the same purpose. Like I said, they've always been calisthenics, even from the beginning. But like the focus is more on calisthenics and performance now than it ever was. And so I think this part of it is that we go in thinking, I'll learn this thing, I'll come out of this, and I'll be Bruce Lee, I'll be, whatever warrior character. There's dozens of characters you can think of, but I'll be this person, this warrior. And then we do the forum and think, that was just a couple blocks, and maybe a kick or two. I don't understand. But I think that also falls on teachers, though. I think teachers a lot of teachers are going too much to either side of the spectrum there.
What do you mean?
Either being way too much on just the sport. We know some schools, people that come to our school from other schools that just do forms, and it's not even like interpretation of the forms, it's just doing them. And so there's nothing behind it there, and to me that would be really boring.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of people that have come to our school from other schools, it's like, it's a little shocking how little information they have about the forms that they show up with, right?
Or the times that they come in, and I know Andrew had this experience time with a student who came from another school, and I think there's a young woman in her teens, I think, and talking to her and said, okay, well, what's your highest form? It was like 6 or 7. Okay, did that form. Okay, we're going to do the next lowest now. Oh, I don't know that one. What do you mean you don't know it? You know the one after it. Well, yeah, but I already used that one for my test, so I don't know it anymore. I forgot that one. I learned the next one. What do you mean you don't? He was dumbfounded by that. Like, what do you mean you forget it? Who teaches the younger students, the newer students, the older ones? Well, our teacher, our head instructor does that. But no, like, I learned the form for my test, and then I moved to the next one, and then the other ones are irrelevant. They're not important anymore. And that mindset boggles me.
Yeah, that's always a strange thing to encounter when it's just so much more basic when forms like have such a broad purpose. Like like there's so many different reasons you especially want to remember those other ones, and remembering them is so easy when you're teaching the lower ranking students all the time. It's very easy to remember them. Like, I've never forgotten them because I'm constantly teaching younger students. And so it's just that's a weird mindset to run into from people from other schools sometimes.
Yeah, so like from the sport aspect, like you can take, especially when you want to do like free form, freestyle kind of stuff, you can take parts of your forms and you can get creative. You can pull them apart and rearrange them and modify them. And if you look at them as just, this isn't, the be all end all. This isn't the way to do these things. It's a way to do them to just get your body understanding, get you comfortable with doing these movements and how to move from one thing to the next.
Yeah.
If you look at it that way and look at it as just a basic tool to teach you these things so you can from there take it and do your own thing and really expand on it and make it really cool, it changes that sport aspect. But the other side of that spectrum is the people that I sent you a picture, I think it was yesterday, of a guy who was selling a book in the 60s, selling it in comic book ads, the secret and forbidden styles of, I forget what style. He was a karate, allegedly. I don't know if he was, but Count, what was his name? Count Dante. And like, he had this comic book.
Sounds legit.
I looked him up. I actually had to look him up on Wikipedia. So he did change his name legally to Count Dante.
Nice. Which
is the name of a character from the Count of Monte Cristo. But yeah, he had this. What was it? He had he founded the Black. I should look on it. It's like Black Cobra Martial Arts Society, something like that. And so he had this ad in the comic books in like the 60s for like, this is the ultimate book of the most deadly, dangerous martial arts. So this is the book of secret and forbidden techniques that will make you a martial arts, master assassin killer in 30 minutes or less. And I'm stuck in this voice now.
It's because of all that voice acting you've been doing.
I know. But like there's that kind of mindset, which again, if we're being real here, in the 21st century, we're not approaching martial arts. Like 98% of us are not approaching it with the mindset of like, I expect to regularly need to use this. I like having it for the personal sense of security of like, if heaven forbid something happened, I feel confident in my ability. Even a sport fighter is better than a non-trained fighter. Heaven forbid I ever have to use it. I don't want to. But
if you do, we're going to do an episode on it.
If I ever do, I will talk about my experience. But like, unless you're trained to be a law enforcement officer, a security guard, things like that, if that's where you're going in your career, that's the things you want to do, you're probably not going to use this every day. And even then, I've known some guys who are bouncers, because obviously, like I said, I've talked to a lot of guys to gain that experience so I can learn for myself. So I've known a lot of guys who are bouncers, and they use it fairly often, actually, their actual training.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, not surprising by any means, but yeah, bouncers, yeah, don't mess with them. They'll put your face on the floor. But
On the sticky floor.
the stickiest. It's I mean, if you're thirsty while you're down there, I guess you could get a.
Oh God.
It's just like that's all it is. It's just like tequila and rum and soda. That's all it is on the ground. So I mean, if you're thirsty, I give great life advice. But unless you're going down that career path, which obviously you and I are not, we're not going to use this every day. We're not approaching this with the mindset of I need to be a warrior. I need to be a trained, killer. I gotta be ready to snap a man's neck. Like I don't have that bone in my body. To like even if I were in a scenario where I'm trying to defend myself, I would have a hard time causing serious damage. I'm partially because part of that training that I've done is also talked about the legalities of self-defense, because that's a whole other story. I'm much more partial to just like pain compliance. Just sit down. I'm gonna leave.
Yeah. You mentioned self-defense. That's like another good point too. Is like it's a really good forums are really good for trying to like pull out the self-defense scenarios from the different forums. Like you have a million different moves. The more forms you know, the more like choreography you know, and then pulling those self-defense moves from the choreography is another good technique to use forms for.
Yep.
And then at the same time it like uses your brain. You're not just martial arts isn't just about like physical fitness. It's also about like using your brain and your body at the same time, being able to like use them synonymously and not letting one affect the other.
Yeah. It's kind of go off on a bit of a tangent. It's part of why I like sparring. Every school I think should do sparring. I know there's a lot of schools that don't. Absolutely, you should always do sparring, because it definitely gets that mental training, that mental aspect of like this person is going to hit me. And that's something you miss from patterns. Like obviously in forms, forms that you have the benefit of. I can do a drill. I can do a technique. I can do these things that might be a neck snap, or might be a punch, or an arm break, or whatever. I can do these techniques physically and actually put all my effort into it, which is always something you cannot do with a partner. If I'm doing an arm break technique, I'm not actually going full force because 9 out of 10 times I like the guy. There's that one guy, just can't stand him.
Just asking for it.
just keeps pushing the buttons. And one of these days, just gonna. Anyway, again, I don't have that bone in my body, but you have that benefit in forms that you can do a full force technique. But sparring and partner moves are great because it gives you that adrenaline rush for one thing, but I mean, it gives you that real applicable sense of like one, getting hit, two,
it's good to desensitize yourself to those feelings.
Yeah,
because otherwise you would be too shocked by it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if you the first time I got hit in the head in sparring, in a tournament, because I never took a headshot in sparring, given I was like a yellow belt in my first tournament. So like, I think the headshot was an accident, but it still happened.
Yeah.
But, I got hit in the head, and like, I remember my coach, if you remember Talon.
Is that why you're so weird?
Oh, there's so many reasons for that. I don't have time to go into that. I'm not sure if you remember Talon, who was one of the teachers at our school for a long time.
Yeah.
He was my coach for that first tournament. I remember him shouting, "Get your hands up! Get your hands up!" And the shock of having taken a foot to the head, I just couldn't process what I should be doing next. And now I'm much better. I mean, now there's been tournaments where I've been TKO'd and had the paramedic looking me over while my eyes are dilating, and I'm arguing with the paramedic that I'm fine. Um, true story, and I still debate that I could have finished that fight. Sean, if you're listening, I want to spar you. We never finished that fight. I'm really upset about it. I think he actually watches these podcasts too. Sean, come to Montreal. I want to spar you.
Holy, you're like just spent half an hour saying you don't have an angry bone in your body, and now you're like,
I'm really,
like,
I'm not mad at Sean. He and I were both looking forward to that fight. I'm a little upset with the paramedic because I still,
you know what? Call out the paramedic.
Paramedic.
Come to Montreal, paramedic.
Don't know your name. Don't know who you were. But I'll fight you too.
He'd beat you up, revive you, and to beat you up again.
he almost let me do it too. He's like this. He was thinking about it. He almost let me fight. I think the reason he didn't, my eyes were pretty a little dilated. I can't confirm because I can't see my eyes. But I think the reason he decided not to was because he asked me what day of the week it was. And I took a moment for that one. It was obviously a weekend. It was like a Saturday or Sunday.
That's a tough question in general, though.
Here's the thing. I was working 6 days a week at the airport. And like during the summer, because I was a university student. During the school year, I worked at the airport nights and went to school during the day. So I never knew what day it was.
Yeah, right.
Never.
Yeah.
So he asked me what day of the week it was. I was like, give me a second. It's probably it's a weekend. And I'd work out from there because I think it was also because I was doing 6 days on at the time. It was the day that is not normally my day off. Because I've changed days so I can go to the tournament. So it was just, I think that was why he was like, oh, you had trouble with the day of the week. I was like, I work 6 days a week and it's not actually my day off today.
Yeah. See, that he's just setting you up for failure.
I know.
What about at a tournament? At a tournament, did you do better in forms or in sparring?
I've gotten golds for my forms. I think the highest I ever got in sparring was silver. I don't think I've ever actually got a gold in sparring. Unfortunately. I've had some really good fights. But that's the part that really works, that mental aspect that you're talking about. It's very much a chess game, especially Taekwondo sparring. I love Taekwondo sparring. It's so techniquey.
Techniquey.
It's a word now. It's so much technique involved in it, and it's such a chess match of your body, of footwork and maneuvering and trying to find that opening. And I'm not able to talk anymore.
That's quite the water bottle you got today,
isn't it? I've been.
It looks like a. What does that look like? It looks like those, in cartoons when it says toxic on the big can. It looks like one of those bins that like hobos have a fire in.
Yeah, sure. I got a very small hobo bin.
Right on.
My wife and I have been actively working on our water intake.
That's nice.
Because all the things that I'm good at, my diet is not one of them.
Yeah, me
I have
neither.
a horrible diet. I've gotten much better since my my old college days of eating Pop-Tarts and frozen dinners nonstop.
For water, like when I was like, I want to drink pretty much just water all the time, I felt it very helpful to always have a lemon or a lime wedge in it.
Mm-hmm. We've been doing,
because it A, makes it more flavorful, and B, then it's just extra vitamins.
That's true. We've been doing that. My wife has been doing lemons and cucumbers and stuff. We've also been getting like a lot of like Crystal Light things to flavor the water.
Right on.
So that's why I have the giant container of water. It's been since the new year. We've been really trying to make sure we get our water intake. It's going good.
Good job.
I don't go to the washroom all the time, but I'm getting the water. So
like a pregnant lady over here.
Oh man, I suddenly sympathize so much. Man, we had a topic somewhere, didn't we?
Yeah.
All right.
At some point.
So somewhere we had one. We're talking about forms. I think we got sidetracked onto sparring. Um, I was contrasting the two.
That's okay.
Forms can go all out. Pattern sparring, you get one-on-one, get to actually like engage. Yeah, I don't know. I think part of it comes part of a lot of people's disdain for forms. I think it's two part. Like I think it's one part the expectations we go in with as students sometimes. And I think there's some teachers that maybe aren't catering to the students, maybe are teaching wrong. If all you know is the sports side and that's where your focus is, that's fine. Like that's where your focus is in martial arts and that's what you teach. Um, just be honest with that, I guess. If you're a teacher, if that's what you know, be upfront. Be like, yeah, no, I don't know that the other stuff. I know sport.
Yeah, that's why it's good to have teachers in like with any activity or subject matter. It's good to have a teacher that's like, oh yeah, go out, explore, go learn this thing from this person and this thing from that person, and because they know that they're not all knowing in every area, and that's I feel like when you have a good teacher.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend who's a dancer, and she encourages her students to take other kinds of dance classes and stuff. So it just like broadens your horizons that way, and then I don't know, makes you a better dancer, fighter, what have you.
Yep. And our teacher's done that too. Like he's, encourages us to do all kinds of styles. That's why I'm doing a few martial arts styles right now, and or kung fu styles, I should say, and
yeah, and he's brought many times brought other kinds of teachers into the school for different classes and seminars and such, and he's not teaching them.
He's bringing someone else, and he just the last times he does the seminars with us, he's it's a weird feeling being a student with your teacher, but it's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think if you're learning martial arts, students need to really reassess what their bar is for what their expectations are. Don't and try not to rush the process. We're going into forms hoping to come out a samurai. Slow down.
Just relax.
just pull on the reins a bit there. Forms can be tons of fun. Like and I said, you
can't all be samurais like us.
Yeah, I've put in my time.
I should have worn my new Bruce Lee shirt for today, but I wore it to work out the other day.
Have you seen the Bruce Lee shop?
No.
It's run by his daughter. They got a bunch of like Bruce Lee merchandise and stuff. There's a couple things that my next paycheck I'm buying off there. I'll send you links to the ones that I'm getting because I don't want you to get the same thing. Or we can match. That'd be cool too. But yeah, you should.
Send me a link.
Once I get the stuff that I'm gonna get, I'll wear it on the next episode whenever when I get that. Hopefully it comes soon. Post is really inconsistent. But anyway, like I was saying, like I love forms. I think there's a lot to be gained from them if we kind of if we allow ourselves to really see them for what they are. And they are a lot of things, and you can pick and choose, right? Like you're saying, the traditional combative self-defense knowledge is still there, despite how modernized our martial arts are and how sport-oriented they've become. The traditional knowledge is still in there. Some teachers don't teach it, some don't know it because they didn't learn that part, and that's fine. But it's still there if you choose to go find it. If you just want the theatrical aspect, that's absolutely there for you, and you can find that. And there's so much. I think there's so much that you can do with your forms that really shouldn't be sleeping on them. Like there's a project that I'm working on for some videos that I want to do that's very forms focused. I'm basically developing new forms from some source material for a video series I'm working on right now. And
stay tuned.
To my channel, which has like one video on it right now that's just me babbling.
But kind of like this one.
Yeah, it's kind of like this. But like,
Except someone's listening to you.
what now?
Yeah,
I hope so.
it's me. It's me.
Oh, you don't count. But you know, like,
If I had a nickel every time someone said that to me.
oh, poor Sam. But like, there's so much that you can get from your forms that I think it's really doing a disservice to them and to yourself to not just what's the there's the saying that like every martial arts teacher says, but you know, empty your cup. You know, you have to, if your cup is full, you can't add any more to it. You got to empty your cup so that it's empty, so you can add more to it. Empty your cup so you can add more of that knowledge in the form. So there's more there than you probably think there is.
Maybe that's why that girl forgot her previous forms.
Maybe her cup is full.
She had to empty it out, man.
Yeah. You gotta get, well, that's the thing. You get the bigger pot, and you empty your cup into the pot, and then when that pot's full,
Macaroni in a pot.
And then you can make pasta.
Pasta.
The pasta. Now I'm just hungry. We've gotten off track again. I think this has
blame the pasta.
I think this has been our most like not linear episode yet.
That's okay. You had a nice little wrap up just now, though.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've been working on my speaking, trying to speak all goodly.
Is this another one of your characters?
I guess so. I don't know.
Thank you for listening to the High Frequency Kicks podcast. Remember to subscribe on your favorite streaming service and give us a like.
That'd be pretty dope. You could practice your forms while you're sleeping.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. But no, it never works out that way.
Dang. That sucks.
Yeah.
I should work on lucid dreaming. I can do forms in my sleep.
I wish.
Pretty. If you have a dream journal, it helps you to learn to lucid dream.
Really?
Supposedly.
Oh.
And then you could.
Because I really want to. I'd really like to do that because I came really close one day recently to using a toilet in my dream.
Oh, that's dangerous.
I know. You know what the toilet was too? I was walking down the sidewalk and it was like on a boulevard next to a tree. And I was like, oh man, I gotta go. Oh good, there's a toilet right there. And then I sat on it and then I'm like, how come I'm not going?
Oh yeah, sure.
And then I woke up.